First rule of Blu-ray Additions. You do not talk about Blu-ray Additions. Second rule of Blu-ray Additions. You do not talk about Blu-ray Additions.
You know what they call Blu-ray Editions in Paris?
They don't call it Blu-ray Editions?
No, they got the metric system. They wouldn't even know what Blu-ray Editions are.
Then what do they call it?
Royale with cheese. I have come here to chew bubblegum and do Blu-ray Editions. And I'm all out of bubblegum. Alrighty then, let's get started. Starting us off, Thor Ragnarok. This is one of my favorite Marvel movies. I like Iron Man better than this, and I like Captain America, the Winter Soldier, better than both this and Iron Man. That's my favorite Marvel movie. But I still really like Thor Ragnarok, as well as Taika Waititi as a director. I think Hunt for the Wilder People was pretty good. There's definitely some pacing issues there, but I still really thought that movie was entertaining. And I also really loved Jojo Rabbit. I have a review of that coming up eventually, probably. It's kind of a history credit as well, so it's kind of more mandatory. But getting to Thor Ragnarok, I really liked Thor Ragnarok. I thought this was an incredibly fun movie. I was laughing my butt off. They kind of pay homage to The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton in a scene where Mark Ruffalo's Hulk jumps out of a airplane and then doesn't act like he's trying to turn into the Hulk when he jumps out of an airplane and doesn't turn into a Hulk and just bonk gets thrown into the ground. It was funny. It's funnier if you actually see the scene than me describing it to you. But one thing I really liked about this movie was Taika Waititi playing this rock monster Korg. There's a thing that he says in there. He says, "Well, I tried to start a revolution, but I didn't print enough flyers, so hardly anyone showed up, except my mum and her boyfriend, who I hate." So, yeah, I like Thor Ragnarok. That was an entertaining movie. Next up is Mary Poppins. Not my favorite Disney movie. I know a lot of people love this movie, and I think it's watchable. I don't like it. I don't like Mary Poppins that much. Unpopular opinion, I know. But keep in mind that my favorite movie of all time is Collateral. Collateral is directed by Michael Mann, who is known for being very style over substance. So when I say a movie style over substance, that means it's a bit of a big problem for me, because my favorite movie is style over substance. But Mary Poppins is incredibly style over substance. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes. And there are a lot of parts where I wasn't actually interested. Like, for example, there's this guy they go to, and he laughs a lot, and then he starts floating because he's laughing a lot. I didn't really care about that scene at all, but I still like the soundtrack. I like some of the songs in the soundtrack, I guess, but I think the reason most people like Mary Poppins as a movie is because nostalgia. But I didn't grow up watching Mary Poppins. I watched it when I was like 12, and then I watched it again just a couple days ago, and I wasn't too impressed by it. Like, if one thing I was thinking about though was there's this part where this kid Michael, his father's trying to tell him that he should put his money into the bank because then it will gain interest and then be worth more. And I agree. I'm a financially responsible person, and so I understand that that's a better option than what he was going to do with it. What Michael was going to do with it was feed birds. Like, would you rather feed birds or be able to, like, get more money to feed more birds? And then he's like, "No, I want to feed the birds." And then when his father is like, "No, give the money to the bank and then get more money," everyone decides that they don't want their money to be in the bank either. And so, to sum up Mary Poppins, 2 kids and their nanny work together to destroy the economy of England. No, it's not. It's not about that at all. But I think if you want to watch Mary Poppins, you should go ahead. But it's never going to be one of those movies that I jump to recommend. On the other hand, there is one scene mixing both cartoons and reality way before Space Jam was doing it, and I like that scene. I think it's really impressive and really fun. So, next up, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Die Hard 2, Die Hard with a Vengeance, and Live Free or Die Hard. So, what I thought I'd do is talk about all 4 of the Die Hard movies a bit. And notice how I said all 4. You might be thinking, hey, isn't there a 5th Die Hard movie called A Good Day to Die Hard? No, there isn't, because it doesn't exist. It's dead to me. So, yeah, I just figured we'd talk a bit about the Die Hard movies. I want to talk more about the first one come Christmas time, but all I have to say about it currently is that it's one of my favorite action movies. And despite what I said last Christmas about how A Charlie Brown Christmas is my favorite Christmas movie, I might go back on that because it's not Christmas until terrorist seize Nakatomi Plaza. Die Hard is my favorite Christmas movie of all time. It's fantastic, and if you haven't gotten around to watching it, make that your goal this Christmas. I know it's June, but just do it for me. Watch it come Christmas time. Next up, Die Hard 2. Basically, Die Hard in an airport, but worse. I don't like Die Hard 2 that much. There's some good parts about it, like, the acting's good, Bruce Willis is, as always, good, but that's about it. Not much else is actually entertaining. There's a reporter character in the first Die Hard, and he was by far the worst aspect of Die Hard. And in this movie, instead of getting rid of him, they made him a major character. Why? Why would you do that? Why? Next up, you have the fact that this movie is just boring. There was like a good 30 minutes where I just was spacing out. And then I realized I was spacing out, and I had to rewind 30 minutes. And that was the most painful hour of my life, because I spaced out watching it, because it was boring. I rewinded 30 minutes, and then I watched the 30 minutes again, and got more bored. But probably my biggest problem with this movie is William Sadler playing the villain. I like William Sadler. I liked him in The Shawshank Redemption. I liked him in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. I didn't like him in this movie. He was a good actor. He was good in this movie. But his character was awful. I hated William Sadler's character so much. I don't even remember his name. The movie's like 2.5 hours long. I don't even remember the main villain's name. Not only are his motives extremely boring, like, I didn't care about his motives at all. It was like, I don't remember, doesn't matter. But also, the way they introduce him is they have this expositionary news report, and, like, so what they're doing is they're just explaining what's happening, and that's supposed to set up his motives. And instead of showing him watching it, just sitting down and watching it, they show him watching it while he's doing naked martial arts. Naked martial arts. He's doing that and watching. And I couldn't fast forward through it because it's an important expositionary scene. Die Hard 2 is basically Air Force One. You know what? No. Disgusting. Get it away from me. Okay, veering back to the good Die Hard movies. Die Hard with a Vengeance. I love this movie. It's phenomenal. With Die Hard, they had John McTiernan direct it. He did a phenomenal job. Die Hard 2 was directed by Rennie Harlin. He did an awful job and crafted an awful movie. And then Die Hard with a Vengeance, they got John McTiernan back, and he did a phenomenal job. This is one of the greatest directed movies ever. I definitely think, though, that Die Hard with a Vengeance is just a tad bit lesser than Die Hard. Like, I hold Die Hard and Die Hard with a Vengeance on equal par, except just Die Hard is just a tad bit higher because I don't like the ending to Die Hard with a Vengeance. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but the last 10 or so minutes of this movie really start to drag. But changing topics a bit, this is just a phenomenal movie for so many reasons. The performances are amazing. Bruce Willis is always incredible as John McClane. Samuel L. Jackson is just great in this movie. And Jeremy Irons, who played Scar in The Lion King, was just great. I loved this movie. I loved Jeremy Irons. He is as good as a villain. He is as good of a villain as Hans Gruber is. And Hans Gruber is a great Die Hard villain. But Jeremy Irons, as I'm not going to spoil who he is, but Jeremy Irons, equal to Hans Gruber. Keep in mind that around the age of 12, I watched both Saving Private Ryan and Pan's Labyrinth, and those movies are graphic. So it should mean something when I say Die Hard with a Vengeance has the only kill that's ever made me go, oh my gosh. It is crazy. I'm not going to spoil what it is for you in case you haven't seen the movie, but it involves a car, a rope, and a bridge. That's all I'm going to say. So when that scene comes, you will drop your jaw because, wow. So we're changing scenery a bit, but this is for an important reason. The main purpose of this movie, the plot, is that John McClane is being sent around the city to solve riddles and play a very dangerous game of Simon Says. Very dangerous game. And it's amazing. I love the plot to this movie. It's simple, but genius. Now, you may be asking, what does this have to do with me being in the bathroom? Well, let's answer this. One of the riddles John McClane and Samuel L. Jackson get in this movie is that there is a bomb in a park, and that there are 2 water bottles. One holds 5 gallons of water. The other holds 3. Now, you have to fill one of the bottles up with 4 gallons of water exactly, no more, no less. If you don't, the bomb will go off and blow everything up. Now, John McClane has to find a way to get 4 gallons of water into the 5 gallon. So, one time, my science teacher gave us this riddle, and I had the knowledge to do so. So I got up, immediately demonstrated. Here's what you do. This is the 3 gallon. Here's what you do. You fill it up with water. Then, you pour it in to the 5 gallon. Then, you fill it up again. And pour it into the 5 gallon until it's full. Now, you have 6 gallons total. 5 in this, 1 in here. Dump the 5 gallon out. Pour 1 gallon into here. Fill it up again. Four gallons. Next, after I finished demonstrating that to my science class, I said one thing. Do you guys want the park to explode? Thank goodness my teacher actually saw that movie, or else I would probably be in jail by now. But yeah, Die Hard with a Vengeance is just a great movie overall. Although I said it's lesser than Die Hard, and I like Die Hard more, I still rewatch Die Hard with a Vengeance more, because, for Die Hard, the only time I watch it is a lot during summer, because it's a summer blockbuster, and a lot during Christmas time, because it's a Christmas movie. It is a Christmas movie. Don't even think about challenging me on that. But yeah, so the only times I'll watch Die Hard is around Christmas time and summertime, but Die Hard with a Vengeance, I can just watch anytime, because they went, no, to heck with Christmas. Christmas doesn't matter. This takes place on a sweltering hot day. And so I end up rewatching Die Hard with a Vengeance more because there's no specific time where if I watch it any other time, it just feels wrong to me, as opposed to Die Hard. Like, try watching A Christmas Story in the middle of March, and then try and tell me that's not how you feel. It just feels wrong to watch Christmas movies in January or in June, as it currently is for me. But yeah, that's what I think about the Die Hard and Die Hard with a Vengeance. But one more thing before I move on. I love how Die Hard with a Vengeance humbleizes John, because now he has two heroic feats under his belt. He saved Nakatomi Plaza from terrorists, and he saved an airport from terrorists. But so you'd think that he would be perceived as this big action hero who's just this macho guy who can do anything because he saved a bunch of people on two separate occasions. But now they did as much as they can to bump him down as much as they can. Like, for example, he's an alcoholic now. His wife divorced him. This takes place over one summer afternoon, and throughout that time, he's not only hungover, but it's sweltering hot. So this movie does everything in its power to try and make us feel like John McClane is still this normal guy, because that's what made all the Die Hard movies amazing. That John McClane wasn't really an action hero, that he was just this guy who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. So Die Hard with a Vengeance fully understands what made Die Hard so great, but makes it its own movie. That's the perfect way to make a sequel, and it's what makes me respect Die Hard with a Vengeance so much. Next up is Live Free or Die Hard. I actually don't have much to say on this, other than it's good. My main problems is Timothy Olyphant as the villain. He's well acted. Timothy Olyphant does a phenomenal job acting him. But his actual character, he's just the guy who stands with his hands on his hips, ordering people around. And also, they use the word hack to an obnoxious amount in this movie. And also, the climax to Live Free or Die Hard is just not that great. The action, though, is phenomenal. The action is jaw-dropping. It's incredibly well-directed, and the main problem I thought I would have with Die Hard 4 or Live Free or Die Hard isn't that it was PG-13 like a lot of people had the problem with. It was that I thought that switching from John McTiernan to another director would have kind of failed, because it did with Die Hard 2. You switch from John McTiernan to someone else, it failed. But Live Free or Die Hard actually switched to a director who also knew how to competently direct action scenes. And so Live Free or Die Hard is just a great movie. Not great, it's a good movie. Like I said, villain's kind of stereotypical, not very interesting. There are some scenes also that kind of feel routine, like some scenes involving the police or involving this guy, this hacker they call the Warlock. But on the other hand, there's a character in here played by Justin Long, and I knew Justin Long as the guy from Dodgeball, but I didn't really like him in Dodgeball is the thing. But I really liked him in Live Free or Die Hard. I thought he and Bruce Willis had really good on-screen chemistry, and so I like Live Free or Die Hard. I would say, out of the ranking, since I'm done with talking about all the Die Hard movies, my ranking would be, A Good Day to Die Hard is just the worst Die Hard movie, as well as one of the worst movies of all time. Die Hard 2 is forgettable and kind of embraces everything that Air Force One was trying to be, and then takes the one good thing out of Air Force One, that there was a good villain. Live Free or Die Hard, I like it. I don't like it as much as the other two. Die Hard with a Vengeance is really good. That's second place. And at first place is obviously the first Die Hard. So, that's pretty much all for my inane ramblings on the Die Hard movies. Yay! Oh. Next up is Ant-Man and the Wasp. A lot of people don't like this movie. I don't hate it, is the thing. I don't love it, is what I would say. It's never gonna be one of my top favorite MCU movies, but it's okay. It's a good movie. It's entertaining. And I now own it, and I'm closer to completing my Marvel collection. Yeah! Collection. But yeah, what I like about Ant-Man and the Wasp is that it's one of those movies that takes place over one afternoon or the span of one day. That sounds incredibly dumb. You could think that, but think of it. So many great movies take place over the span of a day. 12 Angry Men, Collateral, Die Hard with a Vengeance, what's it called? Aliens takes place over one day, I believe. I believe it does. No, I know it does. Never mind. That was stupid. Not Alien. But yeah, a lot of movies take place over one afternoon or one night, or even one day if you're doing the long stretch. And that's great. Sometimes that's really fun. And Ant-Man and the Wasp does that well. It kind of has multiple people after one big MacGuffin, and that's my main problem with it, that this portable building just is sort of a MacGuffin. There's a portable building. And also the villain was very one-dimensional, stereotypical, boring, whatever you want to call it. It's bad, is the simplest way to put it. I don't like the villain, which is weird, because it's played by one of them is played by Lawrence Fishburne. You know, Lawrence Fishburne, the guy who starred in one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time, The Matrix. But yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Another thing I kind of thought was interesting is it's not one of these superhero movies where the superheroes are fighting to achieve something that will help humanity or help a lot of people. They're doing it to help themselves. And the reason that's so good is because there's no police to help them there's no one that's gonna pardon them if they break any laws, because they're not helping anyone after they do it. It's all for the benefit of themselves. And so I really liked that they did that with Ant-Man and the Wasp. But overall, I think Ant-Man and the Wasp, it's an okay Marvel film. It's good. It's not something I dread watching as much as, like, say, Captain Marvel or the first two Thor movies. But I like it. And finally are the first two Kill Bill movies. Not the first two, both Kill Bill movies. There's only two. But I heard there's plans on making a third. Please don't. Never do it. I don't even think it will be directed by Tarantino, though. It's just going to be directed by someone else. That's going to be awful. But Kill Bill, I love the first one. And I don't say that because I don't like the second one. I say that because I haven't seen the second one. I saw the first one, and it left me on this huge cliffhanger. The last words of the movie are such a cliffhanger. I'm not going to spoil it for you. But, like, then you're like, yeah! Oh, man. Duh. Do the next one. And the next one is like 2.5 hours. Well, almost 2.5 hours long. But it's long. And if you think that's long, keep in mind, Tarantino originally wanted to make this a 4.5 hour long movie with extended anime sequences. Yeah, this movie, Kill Bill, has animated sequences, and I like them. They're good. It kind of pays homage to anime, and I think I like anime. Never been a fan, but I like anime. But overall, Kill Bill is just a great action movie. I like how it kind of utilizes the samurai genre, as well as the very 70s-ish movie. Like, you know how a lot of the really dumb, cheesy movies are from the 70s? But this was made intentionally to be that. And so I like how Tarantino utilized the goofiness of it to create an actually really good movie. So, if you like Kill Bill and how it kind of is a parody of the 70s movies, the samurai genre, the action genre, you should check out Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is a lot like it, but it's an action comedy. And one last thing I want to say about Kill Bill before I move on is that the crazy 88 fight in the first one, oh yeah, that's an awesome fight scene. It's one person against 88 other people, hence the name Crazy 88, and it's phenomenal. All the actresses are good in this movie, as well as all the actors are good in Kill Bill, and I think, just in my opinion, this is solely my opinion, I think Kill Bill is more entertaining than Pulp Fiction. I said more entertaining, not better. I think Pulp Fiction is a better movie, but I think I'm more likely to be entertained by Kill Bill. And so, yeah, that's about all I have to say for Kill Bill. Moving on, we arrive to Blu-ray of the month. So, our first nominee is Thor Ragnarok. This movie just has some beautiful shots. It has very vibrant colors. The CGI is extremely well done. And so, one rule of thumb for these nominees for Blu-ray of the month, MCU movies and sci-fi movies are really likely to get nominated because they just have beautiful CGI. And so Thor Ragnarok I nominated because it has great CGI and a lot of vibrant colors reminiscent of an 80s movie. So next up, Mary Poppins. You got that sequence where a bunch of the kids go to this animated world, and it's basically Space Jam, where you utilize 2D animation and also live action. And so I really like this Mary Poppins Blu-ray. I believe this is like a restored version of the movie. They did something to make it look better. I'm not sure. I'm not a genius at this stuff. So that's why I nominated Mary Poppins. Next up is Die Hard with a Vengeance. The explosions, love it. The sound, love it. The vibrant colors, very minimal, but love it still. So that's why I nominated Die Hard with a Vengeance. And it's just the second greatest Die Hard movie. Next up, we have Live Free or Die Hard. This basically looks like a Michael Bay movie. It has the color palette of one, the very dark, murky, grimy, the murky, grimy color palette just makes it look really good. And so, Live Free or Die Hard. And finally, Kill Bill Volume 1. I nominated this one for two reasons. One, the amazing fight scene with the Crazy 88 that takes up about a third of the movie. That's one of the greatest fight scenes ever. And also, just because of the sole shot of Uma Thurman's character facing off against one lone swordsman, and it's just silhouettes against a blue background. It's just amazing. And the fight with Oren Ishii, played by Lucy Liu, great. That also looks great on this Blu-ray. And so, yeah. And our winner is, please give me a drum roll. Our winner is Thor Ragnarok. The vibrant colors, the great CGI, the space battles. Jeff Goldblum alone is enough to nominate this. All of those except Jeff Goldblum are why Thor Ragnarok won Blu-ray of the month. And so, our winner for this month, Thor Ragnarok. That just about wraps it up for this month's Blu-ray editions. Before you head out, why don't you tell me what your favorite movie out of the ones I got this month were? I'd say mine is probably a tie between Die Hard with a Vengeance and Kill Bill Volume 1. After you do that, you can head on out, stay safe, and watch good movies. Bye!